So it's nice to be able to sit and have a conversation and just chat about things that women worry about when it comes time for them to speak up in public, whether it's at a meeting or it's with a spouse or it's with their kids even, you know. And I don't know about you, Patty, but I've come across a lot of people that they list off different things that stop them. And I think one of the biggest things that I have heard from people saying they, you know, what stops them from speaking up is actually being able to be recognized for the opinion they're bringing. Yeah. They're afraid people are going to judge them on what they say, and so they don't say it. And for me, you know, I go back in time when I was going through a rough time with an ex-husband. And, you know, there were times when I would not speak up because I felt like if I spoke up, he was going to talk me down. And he did. And it took a long time for me to overcome that. And I think that's something that is so powerful when a woman can find that inner strength to say, hey, stop, don't do this. I have something important to say. You need to listen to me. Then and only then can we actually start working to push and make their voice even stronger.
There's many reasons for that too. And I want to just make one little caveat here that sometimes in the situation like with a spouse, sometimes it is best to remain silent if it's in the arena of violence or perpetual potential for violence or anything like that. I mean, although you and I advocate, stand up, speak up, stand out, you know, say it. And it's not what you say, but how you say it. But there are times, and I just want anybody who hears this to know that we're not advocating just speak up willy-nilly, that it's very important. If you fear that they're going to put you down, that's one thing. But if there's any way, shape, or form that that's going to lead into any kind of oppression or physical violence of any kind, then I think you really need to mind your P's and Q's. And I would really recommend that you get in touch with people like Teresa and me, because we're very good at helping women handle this situation. But, you know, go ahead, sorry.
And I was just going to say, you know, the most important thing is to stay safe, to protect yourself. And if that means that you have to, at that particular point in time, stay silent, then that's what you do until you can find a place and a time to do it in a very safe way. But yeah.
And that's why the exercises that we do in this program, for example, the I am exercise, the declaring your truth, you don't have to stand up in front of the person that's giving you the hard time. It could be a marital situation, or it could be a boss that just loves to annihilate you and put you down for whatever reason. But you just have that little piece of paper. I am powerful. I am strong. I am. And you can go into the bathroom and read it. You can sit in your car and read it. You can go outside and walk in the street and read it out loud. Or the exercise that you do for stepping into your power, or the exercise on getting your story straight, your star plus, you know, all of those things that we teach in this program really help women to get in touch with that power in themselves and that voice inside themselves. And these exercises are just so true and good for women to do. But, you know, I wanted to say, because you and I, we coached women from all around the world. And I have to say that, and I think that you may back this up, I've had now clients from over 120 countries. Doesn't matter what culture. We have been socialized through the centuries to be silent.
Yeah.
And that is, again, we go back, there's a lot of fear in speaking. You take women, the statistics for women who have been abused or sexually assaulted, only 10% of them will go to the authorities, at least in the West, because they're afraid they're going to be victimized again. There are just so many things. Shh.
Yeah.
Girls should be seen and not heard. Wives should be just pretty, make the dinner, whatever, but don't have your own opinion because for whatever reason, men feel challenged. Now the world
And
is changing, thank God.
yeah, but we say it's changing, but there are still such a high percentage of women that will not speak out, especially on controversial topics, or express those strong opinions for fear of backlash, fear that they're going to be harassed online, or they'll have negative reactions from the audience when they're speaking about it. And, you know, being able to talk about those things that are really important to you, you shouldn't be afraid of backlash. And part, like you said, Patty, you know, what we do is we help coach individuals to step into their power so that when they do talk about these really strong and controversial topics, they own it. They own the stage, and they own whatever comes out from, you know, the purpose of them standing up there on that stage and talking about it. And we're seeing a lot of people standing up even today with regards to the things that are going on in our world, which are very sad.
And you know, another thing that's a plus for our program here is that we really build a nice, safe community for women. Like the fact remains that because we ask for them to honor each other through our little sacred contract, there, our sacred circle contract, where we ask all participants to respect each other's voice, that we're all teachers and we're all learners, and everybody's voice is equal. And in that safe environment, it's easy for women to stand up, speak up, say what they need to say, and just get supported. And that's what begins to build that confidence muscle, especially to help women broach that difficult subject. For example, you know the question well, when I say to women, why aren't you speaking up? Who stole your voice? That's a very difficult question for many women to answer, and many of them are afraid. Some people do it well on their own, and others, they won't do it until they're in a safe environment, because then a sister will say, I know what you've been through. Remember, you were a guest speaker on one of my Your Brave Voice, and we had the woman from Russia who was in that terrible trying to leave a violent husband, and a husband who just put her down, and you came forward with your story, and she got such courage that I know that you telling your story of bravery and finding your brave voice actually gave her the courage. And I heard from her recently, and she's so grateful for attending that workshop, because she said it really, the women in that group that night gave her all the support that she had been lacking.
And that in itself is something that we as women usually do really, really well. We help support each other. And if you are not supporting each other as a woman, why not? I always ask that question, you know, because I think I was watching a program the other day, and it was about how in America, when you go through high school, you have the shy girls, and then you have the mean girls. And the mean girls are always the ones that drive the agenda and drive the narrative. When in fact, the mean girls are the ones that really need to learn self-confidence, because they don't have it. When you are that mean, it means that you have insecurities that are stopping you from being a really individual person that buys into what the world is about, and what life is about, and what you could do to make it better. And you know, for me, I want to get rid of the mean girls. We shouldn't have mean girls out there. We should have women that pick each other up, lift each other up, and never push anybody down. And if you're pushing people down, start thinking about that. Why? Why are you pushing them down? Why are you talking about them when you should be talking to them? Yeah.
You know, I love that point, and you're absolutely correct. Like the mean girls, the bully is always just like a very wounded child. It doesn't matter if they're big old men or young mean girls in school. They're so deeply wounded inside. But you know, I remember the very first time I spoke here in Dubai about 5 years ago now. It was a women's summit. And I asked the women to please stand up and raise their right hand and take a pledge that I will never again throw a sister under the bus. That if I don't like what she's doing, I will wish her well and I will walk away. Because you and I have both been women entrepreneurs for a long time. Men do not hold me back. There's only one in 52 years, there's only one man that comes to mind that tried to annihilate me. I can't even count the number of women who have gossiped, made up stories, torn me down. It used to really bother me until I realized that it really has nothing to do with me. But here's my point. It is not men who are holding women up. It is when we throw a sister under the bus, when we gossip about her, when we try to silence her. Who does she think she is? Shh, don't say anything. But it's really important, I think, and again, we get back to see community. Somehow throughout history, women have been co-opted into this competitive thing. But if you look at the Chinese model of yin and yang, the yang being the male energy, the light, the logic, the reasoning, the competitive, the yin, the feminine, the intuitive, the collaborative. It is not inherent to female energy to be competitive. It is inherent in us to be collaborative. And I really want to see us working to bring women back to that. We don't need to compete. Bob Proctor, may he rest in peace, one of my favorite teachers, said this: amateurs compete, professionals create.
Oh, I like that.
That's
I
a
like
good
that.
one.
You know,
And you and I could be competing against each other, or we can be collaborating. And let's face it, we get far more work done when we just come together, share our skills, share our passion. I really want to encourage women to do this. And I think this is, again, why it's really important to create community for women, a safe environment where they don't have to compete, but they can come together. There's that.
yeah, I like that, and I like the quote. You know, amateurs compete and professionals collaborate. And I've been doing collaboration, I think, my entire life, not even realizing that that's what I was doing. But it was always nice to work with somebody and to see something come of it. And I think that for me has always been a real thing that I get involved with. You know, even as I was coming up through my corporate world, I always worked with individuals to help everybody get to a point in the corporate arena to where they wanted to be, whether they were a secretary wanting to get a promotion or get a pay rise, or, you know, a junior manager wanting to take on a new team. And it was by working together we were able to provide the outcome that everybody was looking for. But if you try and do it on, I think there's another South African saying, isn't it? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to
go far,
work together, go together. Yeah, travel together.
Yeah,
and that's key. That is key.
To learn. But I want us to zero in a little bit on these three things that I think Speak Up, Stand Out, and Transform Your Voice really addresses. And that's three things that pains or issues, gaps, whatever you want to call them. I don't like to say the word issue. Oh, she has issues. I don't like that. But
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Okay.
Challenges. Yeah.
And one is that my experience is women suffer a lack of confidence. You and I have talked about this, and there's studies that show that, you know, men have what they call honest false confidence, where they actually believe that they've done a great job when everybody else is like, well, not really, not so much, but they do. And that's a wonderful thing. We do not have that, generally speaking. I think that younger women are better at this than this older generation, but there's a bit of a fear of being seen and being heard, as we were just talking about. And the one that I think that, and again, something that really differentiates our work, is these vocal challenges. Women are not aware of this most important thing that they have going on here, and that's their voice. And I often tell the story of being at an event here in Dubai not long ago, a very exciting initiative by a woman. She had a male MC. The guy had one of those voices like he should have been on radio. And I still remember his slides. I still remember almost everything he said. And then she came up with this fabulous idea with a voice that, I'm not exaggerating, turned off everybody in that room. People were actually putting their hands over their ears. People were saying, oh my God, her voice.
Mm.
And you know, I walked out of there. I had no idea what the initiative was because I couldn't hear it. Because it was like fingernails going down the chalkboard. It was a screech. And everybody was talking about it.
So my question, to that is, there are a lot of women that do not believe they have a vocal challenge. They don't believe that their voice is a problem. And what that says to me is that they do not record themselves and listen back. They do not ask other people in the audience, well, how did I come across? Honestly, what did you think? And it's finding those individuals who will give you the honest feedback so that you can improve and you can grow and become an even more effective speaker, because, her initiative was something really powerful, and yet nobody remembers it. Nobody signed up for it. Nobody even thought it was worth listening to, because they probably, as soon as coming down the blackboard, they probably started doing emails or looking at their phone or
scrolling through the phone, which is the speaker's nightmare. As soon as that happens, they're gone. So these are the things that I really, that we focus on in this program. This program comes from years of experience, yes. But even more important, it comes from a place of deep love in both of us and passion. We are two single gals, single entrepreneurs in the world, making our way. And we have everything I think that we teach doesn't come from a book that we read, although we read all the time, but it comes from going through it, of being there in person and experiencing it, going away and self-reflecting. And we both have a very strong desire to serve and to give and to help. And I know we both work with men as well as women, but I always say that expression that my little African student years ago said to me, Miss Paddy, when you educate a man, you educate one person. But when you educate a woman, you educate the whole village. And I've always remembered her. And that's really the passion here, because it's the women who will teach the children the things. And also, as I was saying earlier, like the exercises that we have created, I don't think you find these exercises really anywhere else. I mean, the exercises that I bring forward, yes, I learned when I was studying to be a radio journalist, but I've learned through all of these years of coaching. And let's face it, our clients teach us how to coach.
Yes. And we both have so many different stories that we could draw upon. And I love the fact that, because of our years of experience and the coaching that we've done, we know what works and we know what doesn't work. And that's why, what we're bringing in this Speak Up, Stand Out, and Transform Your Voice program is so special. It's specialized to what we've gone through in our lives, and how we have pulled together the program to work specifically on the areas that we know every woman should be working on.
We know that these exercises work. We know that this work helps grow women. And we always say this, you and me, we do not empower anyone. We only give the skills. Yeah, we equip women to empower themselves, because, I always said leadership's an inside job. Empowerment's an inside job. It has to come from within. Nobody can give it to you. And it comes from your experience. It comes from self-love and self-belief. And these exercises that we have created in this program do just that.
And, you know, so we're looking for individuals that are willing to do the work, that one, recognize that they are holding back, that they have a fear of being judged or a lack of confidence, or maybe they feel they're this imposter syndrome. We are looking for people who really want to come out of that way of life and find a better way forward, so that they're getting recognized for their skills. They're being promoted for the accomplishments that they are achieving, and that they are actually becoming the person they want to become. Because I can tell you right now, I am a totally different person to who I was back in 1999, when everything kind of hit the fan at that point. And now you wouldn't recognize that person then with the person that sat in front of you today. So we and I think Paddy can probably say the same thing with what she's gone through.
Absolutely. It's all been about growth. And so that brings two things to mind. Even if women have gotten through past their imposter syndrome and they do believe that they have their confidence and they're executive women now, but when we say to them, but are you really, have you self-actualized? Do you really feel that you have hit your peak? And they go, no. And that takes me to the second point. You see, you and I and the women that we work with, we're eternal life learners. I mean, I started being coached as a young competitive figure skater in Canada when I was 10. That was 61 years ago. I still have coaches. I have several coaches. I still learn all the time. And I'm so happy to say recently, I mean, I have been teaching ChatGPT to people in their 40s now. Huh. And I think that's really important, that we just always keep learning. And that's, again, what makes this program and the other programs that you and I work on. We do this together. We both are like this kind of coach and teacher,
Gurus.
whatever.
Yeah.
We look at the experiences of our clients and we create from there. We begin to understand, we internalize what they're experiencing, what it is they want, what's blocking them, and how can we find the solution. We talk about this all the time. Is it going to be the problem, the situation, or are we going to focus on solution? And you and I are people who focus on solution. And these are skills that we really want women to be learning. Now, many women, look, I don't want people to think that it's just women who are kind of breaking out of their shell, because it's also for women well on the way to the top.
And I've got several women that I've worked with that are at that level, that at their top of their game already, and potentially are looking to go from a senior manager into the executive boardroom, and they sit there and they don't do that self-actualization, and when they do it, they still fall short of what they think is required to get into that C-suite, because they are not recognizing themselves as being there. They're not already putting themselves at that table, or being the table that they invite other people to, because they don't believe right now everything that they're bringing to the table is so powerful. So, and the ones that I've worked with, and they have broken through that table blockage, are absolutely doing the job they knew they could do. And they're starting to, I guess you could say, embed into the role where you would never have thought they ever had any self-doubt whatsoever.
Also, I've had a couple of women who are very comfortable in the C-suite, but don't know how to stand up for themselves in their personal relationships. They can sit in a boardroom and they can just rattle it all off. They're confident, they're strong. Then they go into their personal lives. Many women who have spent so much of their lives focusing on career that they don't have a social life or a personal life. They don't know how to have one. They don't know how to have those kinds of conversations. So that's the thing here. We really want a holistic development of women, whether maybe you're great, maybe you got the corner office, maybe you are the CEO, although there's only about 4% of CEOs women in the world. I think it's changing a little bit, and I'm happy to say it's changing most right here in the Middle East. As a matter of fact, UAE recently was recognized as one of the lead countries in the world for promoting women into executive positions. And I'm very happy about that. It's one reason why I'm here, to help facilitate that growth. I mean, so the competencies aren't always professional. They could be personal, but you're right. It's that the whole enchilada, as we would say in North America.
Yeah. But you broached the topic of competencies, and the competencies that we use at work are transferable. And there
Yes.
are a lot of things that we do in that professional world that actually could help us in our personal lives and our personal relationships, because that's how I survived. I actually had to look at my relationship with a professional hat on in order to get to the solution that was best for everybody all around. And I could have sat there and said, well, I'm just going to make a decision just for me, but it's not that simple. It's like with any big project you're working on, you've got to look at all of those milestones that need to be touched on and find a solution that fits everybody. So whether it's the husband, the wife relationship, or the family relationship, or the extended family relationship, what is the best solution? And that's how I survived. I actually took what I was really good at work, and I put it into practice in my personal life. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. So
yeah. Now, this takes me to one point that I want to make sure that perhaps it's the elephant in the room. Yep, we charge for this class.
Yeah.
We charge for this class because we give a lot of information, and we don't call it a webinar or a web class, because I think you'll agree with me, Teresa, webinars mean, generally speaking, I'm going to go spend some time, and throughout the hour and a half, you're going to keep reminding me why I should buy your program, and why I should buy this, and why I should buy that. And in the name of complete transparency, yes, you and I will be putting together a group coaching situation, and we will learn how that's all going to work the more we do this, because we want to hear what women have to say. But that's not what this is about. This is about honoring ourselves, which is one thing we want to teach women. Many people say, oh, you shouldn't charge for this. Oh, I think we should. I paid for every little bit of education that I ever had. When I studied with Bob Proctor, the last time it was $30,000. One of my coaches, $35,000 US dollars. We put this money up because it helps you grow. Now, this is only 47 pounds. But
that's so important, isn't it? Because there have been studies that have shown people who buy into the course or the program or whatever will be the ones that actually do something with it. When you give away so much for free, people don't even show up. They register and they don't show up because they know, well, I'll watch the replay. And that's not what we're about. We're actually all about, like you said, we want to equip you with the tools that you can use now that will help you today, tomorrow, and in the future. It's not just a quick, let's write down all these tips that Paddy and Teresa have given us. It's actually, let's put these tools into practice because they are useful. And they're useful now.
That big. I want to keep it a boutique kind of business because I want to know who is in the class. I want to know who you are. I mean, eventually we'll have our master class, our monthly group coaching, and I can't see that's going to be like where we have 500 women. I think that's not my, I hope I'm not speaking out of line here.
No,
But
no.
that's not what
I
I
love
would.
that. I love it. She's like, but maybe Teresa does. No, I think this is what is so wonderful about our collaboration. We get each other and we
Yeah.
understand that, you know, the important thing here is reaching the people who want to be reached. And they're the ones that are going to come forward for the masterclass that we run for the 47 pounds. And then eventually the ones that will want to do even more, which will be our annual program that we're going to launch in January. But that's still in the makings, and when we still got a little bit of work to do on that. We just really care, and I think that's what's so powerful about Paddy and I. Everybody that I've worked with, I've asked them, well, why did you work with me? Why did you make that decision? And almost every single one of them says, because, you know, when we had our little 45-minute consultation, I knew you cared about what I wanted to do.
Yeah. It's really important too that we know our clients' names. I mean, you know, I studied, as you know, with Bob Proctor for a long time, and sometimes it was massive groups, but a lot of times it was intimate groups. And so then when I would go online or go to those big groups and he would know my name, I mean, you just feel like $1 million. I trusted him. I believed in him because, you know, he always believed in giving people that feeling of increase. And this is, again, something very important, I think, to the way that you and I work. That I believe that after people spend time with you and me, they need to feel better afterwards than they did when they came in the door. It's important to, as coaches, to always leave people with that feeling of increase, that they got more than what they paid for. They got cared for more than they could have imagined. And
we just want you there.
We just want you there because we just want to teach. We just want to coach and teach and help and serve. Teresa and I get together, we talk about the state of the world, all these wars, everything that's going on. It's up to us to come together as women. As you know, I spent a lot of time studying in North America with the First Nations people, the Native Indian people, and they all taught me to live today for generations not yet born, for 7 generations to come. Those unborn children are banking on us. And this is what I want to do until the end of my life. And I want to go out of here knowing that I did all I could to help the children not yet born, as well as those on the planet, of course, already. So let's do it.
Do it. Speak up, stand out, transform your voice. Our next one is next week, so go check out the link. It'll be on Wednesday. That's when we do these master classes, and sign up for the one that suits you over the next several weeks, because we're going all the way through November for these Wednesday classes. Yeah. So until then, Paddy.
Goodbye from beautiful Dubai. Believe in yourself, love yourself, give yourself a big old hug and say, I'm worth it.
And from the UK, where it's cold and rainy, get your umbrellas out there. Make sure you get rid of all that rain, because the rain does nothing but depress you. So I want you to turn that umbrella upside down and catch all those raindrops and make them positive points of view. So we love you all, and we hope to see you in our class next Wednesday.
Bye.
Excellent.